the greatest intro songs, the songs that started an album and told you where you were going to be going on that journey. I have several I want to talk about. One was a return of a band after a devastating tragedy that would have ended most bands, but instead gave us one of the greatest rock albums of all time. One could be considered a bridge from a musical landscape that was cut and paste and pretty boring to a more dangerous sound that indirectly led to a whole new genre to be born a few years later. One was a rock intro on the edge of a classical composition that gave us one of the greatest intros to an album ever. One was the 8th studio album by this band. When most bands would start to flounder, this intro to this album let us know they had just begun. One set up a decade of dominance on the new FM broadcast system with their hard rock, blues rock. One was a sophomore album that cemented this band as one of the best rock bands of the 80s. And one single note in this intro launched a whole new genre of music and some of the hardest and greatest bands we've ever heard. We'll talk about those next. Hey, as always, thank you so much for coming back. If you haven't subscribed, please do. We're getting so close to 1,000, and I really want to try to hit that by the end of March. But as I said in the opening, there are some fantastic intro songs that start off an album. That first song or that first intro with a song to start an album, to set the pace, to let you know what's coming is so important. And there are so many good ones. I anticipate hundreds of comments from you guys giving me ones that I did not mention in this video. This is 7 of them that I want to highlight and I think are some of the greatest intros to some of the greatest albums ever. And the first one I want to start with is kind of a close to a classical composition. It was quite an endeavor by this artist, but it's fantastic. And it's Goodbye Yellow Brick Road and it's Funeral for a Friend, Love Lies Bleeding. Those two combo, what a way to start a record. It is so dramatic and so fantastic. And again, Funeral for a Friend, it's often, I think this is from 1973, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. This is my number 7 pick. Absolutely. Check it out. My number 6 pick is the 8th album from this band. Usually bands get 8 albums in, they've kind of established themselves and are starting to flounder and starting to lose that creative edge sometimes, but not this band. They continue to grow, continue to get harder as they went. And this album from 1982, Screaming for Vengeance, the Hellion going into Electric Eye, what a way to start a record. This just established we're still here and we're harder than ever, and great intro to an album. And the whole album's really good, but what an intro. The Hellion going into Electric Eye. My number 5 pick is the sophomore record of this band. Their first record was raw, gritty, loved it. This record just took them to another level and really established them as one of the best heavy metal bands of the 80s. And that would be Motley Crue, Shout at the Devil. In the beginning, Shout at the Devil. The intro going into Shout at the Devil. Man, what a way this record opens up. It's fantastic. And this is my original copy. I mean, you can see the pinholes where I had that stuck on my wall as a teenager. So, great album. It really established them as an 80s band to be reckoned with. But what an intro. In the beginning to Shout at the Devil. Fantastic intro. That's my number 5. My number 4 came out in 1987 when the hair metal was going on, the Poison, the all that hair metal stuff, that radio friendly stuff. And these guys came in And I consider them a bridge, a setup for grunge to come in a few years later when Nirvana and Alice in Chains and stuff. And this is my original copy that I bought for $7.99 in 1987 when this record came out. Guns N' Roses, Appetite for Destruction, Welcome to the Jungle, the intro song. You knew this was something different in 1987. And just a great album from start to finish. But what an intro. Welcome to the Jungle. You're like, this is not like something I've heard before. Fantastic. And like I said, the original cover that got banned. This is my original copy I bought when the record was released. $7.99. Oh, the good old days. My number 3 pick was from a band that was well established, had just come off a great record, and their lead vocalist tragically passed away. Nobody knew what was going to happen to this band. So what did they do? Got a new singer, completely different than the other one, I think. And I love the first singer, and I love the first records. But AC/DC got Brian Johnson and made what was one of the greatest hard rock records ever recorded, Back in Black. And Hell's Bells, the intro song, told you they were back. And they were mourning the loss of Bon Scott. But this reestablished them and took them to new plateaus. What an intro to a record where none of us knew what to expect. When we heard Bon Scott's passing, we didn't know what was going to happen to the band. This is what happened to the band. And boy, what an album. Hell's Bells, what an intro. My number 2 pick, classic band. They were told they weren't going to be successful by other people. Even a classic drummer helped them name the band because he thought they would go down like a Led Zeppelin. And Good Times, Bad Times, the intro to this first record of Led Zeppelin, and this is my original copy I bought in the late 70s, established that they were not just going to be dropping like a Led Zeppelin. They would rule the 70s. They would rule FM radio. And Good Times, Bad Times, when it came on, you knew this was a new style of blues-based rock that was going to rule the world. They just extreme everything. From Bonham's drumming to John Paul Jones' bass playing, from 19-year-old Robert Plant's vocals, and of course Jimmy Page, who was established with the Yardbirds and was known, put together a formidable band. So this is my number 2, Good Times, Bad Times, as an intro to Zeppelin 1. And my number 1 pick was a band that came out same year as Zeppelin 1, but a different genre. And that opening rain and the thunder and that opening chord launched heavy metal. Black Sabbath, the song Black Sabbath. I mean, one of the greatest albums recorded in like 2 days. Fantastic. And they just changed the music. They just created a whole new genre of music that led to some of the greatest heavy metal bands we've ever heard of. Like Black Sabbath, the Godfathers of Metal. And that opening note, that opening thunder, fantastic. This copy here is actually kind of special to me. I recently retired after having some health issues, and I was forced to kind of retire before I wanted to. And the guys at work where I worked knew me very well, did not get me a card. They bought me this record, and everybody signed the inside of it as a good luck in retirement. Very, very special to me. Fantastic. Those guys knew me well. But anyway, that's a side story. Black Sabbath, the song Black Sabbath, my number 1 best intro song to a record. And those are my intros that I think are fantastic. That's 7 of them. I know there's 100 more, and I know I'm going to hear about them from you guys. So bring them on. I want to see what you guys think are some of the greatest intros to an album. Anyway, that's about it for today. I appreciate it. Please like and subscribe if you haven't, and click that notification. And until next time, thanks for watching.